children who may be in this room. We believe you are hiding in plain sight.
Keep your babies close to you. There's someone out there.
What's up, Mob Crew? I'm Chris, and today's missing person case is Don. Also, today's person of interest is Olivia. Today's missing person case is Corey.
What's going on there, ma'am? We have a kidnapping. Hurry, please.
What's up, Mob Crew? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover murder, mystery to the paranormal. And today we're going to be covering the Idaho student case. Before we get started, I'm going to quickly plug my affiliate, Liquid IV, real quick. What's up, Mob Crew? How would you like to feel better about what you put into your body? This all-new product called Liquid IV is taking hydration to the next level. Liquid IV's Hydration Multiplier is a great tasting daily electrolyte drink mix that utilizes the breakthrough science of cellular transport technology to deliver hydration to your bloodstream faster and more efficiently than water alone. Just add the non-GMO electrolyte powder to your water and let CTT do the rest. It comes in tons of different flavors like strawberry, grape, lemon, lime, and much more. Just add the powder to water and get the hydration your body deserves. They have powder for energy, hydration, and even one to help you sleep better. If you'd like to learn more or purchase some, go to this link down in the description of this video. And if you use the code THEMOBCREW during your checkout, you can save up to 20% on your next order. Hydrate now with Liquid IV. Thank you. Okay, so shout out to Liquid IV, and they're running like always these crazy specials. Sometimes it can be up to like 30% off. So you can just use my code. There's a link in the description as well. And yeah, it's an amazing product. Excuse me. So anyway, yes, we hit 50K a couple of days ago. Shout out to everybody. I couldn't have done it without you guys. You guys are so amazing. We have like the best community. And so for that, I always like to give back as much as I can. So at the end of the show, we'll do a couple of giveaways, and I'll explain what to do at the end. So with that, I saw someone asked how to join. It should come up, Nightbot. There it is. Okay. Let's see if I can highlight it here. We'll put that at the top. For Android users, it should be just next to the subscribe button. For Apple users, it's a little bit more tricky, but it's still possible. You just have to do a couple more things. Let's see, replace pin. So I'll put that at the top. Okay, so if you're new to the show, before we get started, I always like to feature the missing. So we'll do that, and then we'll get into the latest from the case, and then talk about some things that I had come across. So today we have Mario Boyd, missing January 17th. He is missing out of Atlanta, Georgia. He is just 10 years old. I love his outfit. Black hair, black eyes, 5'3", 165 pounds, just went missing. So anybody in Atlanta, please be on the lookout for Mario. If you have any information, please call 911 or 1-800-THE-LOST. Okay, and we got one more. This one is Alan Bennett, missing last year, March 13th. Sounds like he's a runaway. Hope I pronounce this right, but he's missing from Iwa Beach in Hawaii. I think this is the first person I've ever featured from Hawaii that I can think of. Just 16 years old. He is 5'8", 176 pounds. Says Alan may still be in the local area. So if you have any information on, and he may use the name AJ. So maybe if he's on the run, he may be going by AJ. So if you have any information, please call 911 or 1-800-THE-LOST. Okay, let's get into it. Mods, just let me know if it starts to get a little fast. I can slow down the chat, and I'll just keep my eyes on that. Thank you guys for all the congratulations. That's it's awesome. I started my channel in September of 2021. So basically right when the Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito case had started. Kind of the reason I started doing YouTube, I always kind of wanted to, but the reason I started during that case is because at the time I was living in Ohio, but I was born and raised here in Utah. And so the first thing, when the Gabby Petito case broke out, is we see that the couple being pulled over in Moab, Utah. And so when I saw that, it instantly hit home to me because I've been there. And actually, last time I went to Moab when I was a kid with my dad, we were actually right at the arches or close to the arches of where they got pulled over. So it was kind of eerie to see that. And so that's when I started the channel. So now we are kind of a year and a half later in 50K. Now it's a little over 50. I think it's like 51 or 52. So awesome. And yeah. And SP says, thank you for highlighting the missing. And yeah, ever since I started my channel, almost that first or second week, I started featuring the missing. So pretty much not every single video, but almost every video I would feature the missing. Just a way to give back. And it was kind of honestly an honor to Gabby Petito because they started a foundation in her honor. And so it was kind of my way of kind of, giving back to this awesome opportunity that I've been given. So, you found it. Perfect. Nina Babina. I love that. Thank you so much for becoming a member. All right. So one thing before we get into the Idaho student case, I wanted to show this real quick, and maybe I'll show this at the end as well, because this just got posted, and we need to catch this guy, whoever this guy is. So let me show this real quick, and then we'll get into the latest news. There's a new article by People Magazine saying that they may have found the connection, or at least one of the connections, from Brian to one of the victims. But I want to show this. This is not in relation to Brian. This is an abduction attempt that was in Auburn, Washington. This happened late. I don't know if it was early I think it was early this morning, January 16th, or one day ago. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play it. It's real quick. But so here we go. We got 1:16, 5 a.m. in the morning. And this is Auburn, Washington. And this guy literally is trying to abduct this poor girl out of the window. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. So we can see he's got a tattoo. I'll play it and then we'll look at it back. And he just leaves the cash. So I'm going to play that back one more time and then we'll jump over that. But oh my gosh, how scary. But we need to catch this guy. And clearly we could see this tattoo. After the show, I'm going to see if I can zoom in and see if I can figure out what that tattoo says. But clearly that'll stand out. And then this truck as well. And we can kind of see his face a little bit here. I don't know what he's got in his right hand. Seems to try to like whack her with it. But yeah, poor thing. He's trying to get pulled out of the window. And the money just falls. And license plate's kind of lit up. It's hard to see. But anyway, very scary. Need to catch that guy. And I'll play that one more time at the end. Because we need to catch that guy. Get him off the streets. That is terrible. Okay. All right. Switching over to the Idaho Students. So this just got posted not too long ago. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. And then I've got a big video I put together for everybody. Just kind of going over some of the latest and just some things that I noticed with Bryan Kohberger. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. I haven't really read the whole thing, so this would be kind of new to me as well. But it says, accused Idaho killer Bryan Kohberger repeatedly messaged one of the victims on an Instagram source. Now, I do recall when this case first started that I'd seen some screenshots of, I don't know if it was Bryan Kohberger's or one of the victims, but it basically showed that like he was following at least one or two of the victims. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read this. So it says, he was persistent. An investigative source on the case tells People. So it says, 2 weeks before the slayings of the 4 students, last November, the man now accused of killing them sent a series of messages to one of the victims on Instagram. An investigator familiar with the case tells People. In late October, an account that authorities believe belonged to Bryan Kohberger. Now, if I remember correctly, I think he has like 2 Instagram accounts that I've seen people show screenshots of. So it says one of his accounts sent a greeting to one of the female victims. The source says, when he didn't get a reply, he sent several more messages to her. He slid into one of the girl's DMs. If you don't know what DM is, that's direct message. So that's like if you have a Facebook and then DM is basically just like text message but on the computer. So he slid into one of the girl's DMs several times, but she didn't respond. The source tells People. Basically, it was just him saying, "Hey, how are you?" But he did it again and again. Wow, that is crazy. So that says Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were all stabbed to death in the off-campus rental home in Moscow, Idaho on November 13th. A masked intruder entered the home. More than a month later, authorities arrested Kohberger, the 28-year-old graduate student teaching and assisting at Washington State University. Let's see if there's any more about this thing here. Where's the probable cause? Okay, so they're just talking about the PC affidavit. Okay, authorities remain tight-lipped about the alleged motive in the attack. They have not publicly discussed the relationship between Kohberger and the victims. Kohberger's now deleted Instagram account, which was viewed by People before it was removed, followed the accounts of followed the accounts of Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana, but there was no public interaction. So he followed 3 out of the 4, and I had seen where he was following at least 2 of them. So it sounds like he had all 3 girls. So he must have at least known one of them, and then that spread to the connection to the others, I'm assuming. It's unclear why Kohberger didn't get a response to his messages, but authorities say that the victim may have missed them completely. And I will get to you guys' thing here in just a second. She may not have seen them because they went into the message request, says the investigative source. Instagram users are not notified when they receive a message from someone they do not follow back. And the messages go into a special folder. So yeah, if you're not following each other, and if it's a new follow and they send you a DM, you might not see it. It's the same thing with Facebook as well. If you're not friends and you send like a direct message, it'll go into almost like a spam folder. It's basically the same concept with like Facebook for those that don't use Instagram. Pretty much the same thing. So if you're not following each other and it's kind of a new follow or a new friend, and they're sending you a message, you may not see it because it'll get put into like the spam or whatever folder. So they may not. It's basically what they're saying here. We're still trying to determine how aware the victims were of his existence. There's no indication that he was getting frustrated with her lack of response, the source adds, but he was definitely persistent. Kohberger has not yet entered a plea. His next hearing isn't until June 26th. And so that is it. So kind of wild. I wouldn't surprise me. So let me quickly, Stefan, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. You are so awesome. Thank you so much. Aurora says, I can't stand when it says the source says. I think, especially now, I think people kind of want to hide their identity because like the not ex-girlfriend, but the girl that went on the date, with Bryan that one time, she came forward and, she's the one that talked about the date where he was trying to tickle her and stuff. Well, now she's getting sent a bunch of hate, and we see that time and time again. So I don't blame people for kind of just hiding behind, a source or, being unnamed. Thank you so much, Nino Bobima, for the $4.99 super chat. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Lolo, hello. Friend recommended this channel. Right on. Okay, so not surprising that he was trying to get a hold of these girls, but I think it starts to establish some kind of connection between Bryan and the victims. And so now we'll go ahead and move on to the next part here. Let me pull this up. Where are you at? Oh, here we go. Okay.
Being cleared.
Okay, so I don't block it here. How many people do we got? I might need to slow down the chat just a little bit before we get started here. Johnny DeSaint, congrats on the 50K, buddy. Rock on. Thank you so much, Johnny, for the $5. I see so many people that are in here right now that have been with me for a long time, and that means the world to me. That's so cool. Okay, I'm just going to slow the chat just a little bit because we're getting up there. So we'll do 45. Okay. So the first part of this video is just kind of a tap into my last video where I did like top 5 things you may not know about the case. There was an interview that was done by a YouTube channel called Chronicles of Olivia. So shout out to her. And so she had a exclusive interview with the parents, the Gonsalves parents, and it was kind of interesting. And they talked about many things, but one of the things they talked about was kind of why Jack was cleared like early on, and why they were so confident that Jack wasn't, the culprit. And basically, I'm going to go ahead and play that right now. And thank you so much, Aline. Congrats, Chris, on the 50K. Thank you so much. That's so awesome. Okay, make sure I don't miss anything. Okay.
Early on, well, in an exclusive interview with the parents on Chronicles of Olivia YouTube channel, they explained that they asked if Jack could show his hands and arms to make sure there were no scratches on his body. They even took pictures.
Our heads, and in every sense of the word, it's
Basics.
not
We did a job
thorough.
vetting him.
I asked him to, yes, like, did he have any scratches? Did he have any bruises? He came here immediately after it happened.
We can
He's
prove that
broken.
he had none.
And also, Jack even offered to have his car searched to help clear his name. Now, the parents said they felt absolutely horrible to ask this of Jack, but he complied in order to cooperate from the very beginning.
So basically, they photographed his arms and stuff, and like I said, they felt terrible, but to clear himself, he was willing to do that. And then they also checked his vehicle, so they had pretty much cleared him that day one or whatever. And then moving on to the second thing, and then we're going to move on to Bryan's whereabouts.
Number 2, the 10 phone calls, and Adam. We always wondered what was going on with the 10 phone calls made by Kaylee and Maddie to the ex-boyfriend Jack in the early morning before the attack, and what was the reason. Also, we were shown a short clip of Maddie and Kaylee talking.
So Jack is the ex-boyfriend of Kaylee Gonsalves. He was just pictured right there. And he was kind of, I think Jack and the hoodie guy were kind of basically on the top of the list just because, I'm going to explain it here in this video right now.
Of Maddie and Kaylee talking about a guy named Adam. Adam, who is supposedly the bartender at the Corner Club bar, who actually spoke with one or both of the girls. The Gonsalves parents said that even though Jack and Kaylee were taking a break from each other, after Kaylee had a bad experience with a date she went on with another guy prior to the murders, one of the girls told Adam that Kaylee wanted to get back with Jack.
Love.
We went and investigated Adam. What did you tell Adam? We went through that whole thing. Adam is about her trying to get back with Jack.
Keep in mind, Kaylee had moved out and was actually just spending the night, as Kaylee was going to be moving to Texas. So the phone calls would have been Kaylee wanting to express her feelings to Jack, which would make sense as to why this was phone calls and not just simple text messages.
Okay, so just to kind of explain that just in a little bit deeper detail is the whole Adam thing. What did when they were saying, what did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything. Basically, while they were at the bar. And to go back a little bit, Kaylee, because, Jack, they were just taking a break. And that's at the top left here, Jack and Kaylee Gonsalves. And they were kind of split up. They were just kind of taking a break. And apparently Kaylee had gone on a date with another guy. I don't think it was Bryan. But anyway, it was a bad date. He even ended up calling her the B word, which I know kind of sounds like Bryan. And anyway, she was like, you know what? Jack has never called me the B words, never called me a name ever. And so she was like, Jack's, sounds like she, that date, kind of proved that, her and Jack are meant to be together. Anyway, so I guess them being at the bar, keep in mind Kaylee was going to be moving to Texas. So I think she, wanted to kind of reconcile with Jack. And so I think that makes sense with the 10 phone calls, before they go to bed, is that she was trying to call Jack. And that's why it's not just text messages, it's actually phone calls. Anyway, so the father, of course, went and spoke to Adam, and, that's how they found out what was going on. And what was said to Adam is that, they wanted to get back together, or she wanted to express her feelings. And so it's too bad that, they didn't get to talk to each other. So like I said, that's in my last video. I do kind of 5 things that you may not know about the case. That's the first 2. So we'll go ahead and move on, but let me get these real quick. Andy, thank you so much for becoming a member. That is so sweet. And let me get one more. Love this channel and chat. Thank you, One Who See, for being a member for 1 month. And did I get them both? Helen Wood. That's weird. You disappeared on me. Thank you so much, Helen Wood, for becoming a member. That is so sweet. I hope I got everybody. Okay. All right, moving on.
Just simple text messages. Number 3.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to talk about, kind of the main thing about this video. Hold on. Let me get my chat caught up in here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in the probable cause affidavit, there was one time where it talks about that, and I'll just basically read this first part. So the combination of DM statements, which is Dylan, to law enforcement, review of the forensic downloads, and BF, which is Bethany, DM's phone, which is Dylan, and video of the suspect video, as described below, leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. Now, keyword 4:25 a.m., which I think is interesting. Because further on in the PC affidavit, it will say 4:20 multiple times. So I wonder if this was a typo or if the 4:20s were a typo. And I'll kind of explain further here in just a second. Rainy days, low on cash, but gotta show some love for the 50K. Oh, thank you so much, Rainy Days. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. Okay. So as we go further in the PC affidavit, there's two parts where instead of saying 420, so we got the 425 here. Sorry, that comes up fast. And then if we go a little bit down further, it says that review of the footage, which is the camera, and I'll show that here in a second, says that the vehicle is kind of seen at 329. That's seen multiple times because he's kind of driving around in circles until about 4:03 a.m. But then it says ending at 420, which is kind of interesting because it kind of contradicts the 425. And then there's one more time where it says 420, and that's this one here. A little bit further down, it talks about suspect vehicle 1 as seen departing the King Road residence at approximately, and they do use the word approximately, 420 at a high rate of speed. So anyway, and this is where I like to get your guys' input. So apparently at 403, Bryan parks in this parking lot that's kind of overlooks the King Road residence. So he's basically kind of seeing Kaylee, the third floor, so it'd be Kaylee and Maddie's bedroom, and then you've got the second floor porch. And then apparently when he leaves, and they also found some tracks of his that led down and back up. I guess he kind of walked through the tree line down to the second floor there. But when he leaves, apparently this is obviously the way he would be leaving out. I mean, there's only one way out. So here's my little diagram of the car leaving. But what's interesting, and sorry, it's not funny, but I don't know why my car was not supposed to do 360. It's so weird. I had it fixed, and then when I uploaded it, for some reason, I don't know, it did a 360. So the car didn't do a 360 there. It just drove. But the part I'm trying to point out is this part right here. I'll pause it here in just a second. And this is the thing that even Steve from True Crime Web, who is former law enforcement, we were both talking about over the weekend, is we kind of assumed, this is before they caught Bryan Kohberger and before the PC affidavit, we kind of assumed that the killer would have parked basically where the car is at now. And you would have gotten those, what they call acceleration marks, from a car that stopped and then peels out and would have left those marks on the ground. So it makes me wonder if he had pulled around just how I showed in my diagram, minus the 360. He pulled around, but then did he stop? Because remember, he left the sheath. And did he realize as he's starting to kind of leave the area and now he's in front of the home, did he realize that he left the sheath? And so did he stop? And so let me grab these real quick because it's going like crazy. Thank you guys. You guys are so awesome. Awesome job, Chris and Mob Crew Mobs. Thank you so much, YouTube Grandma, for the $10. That's so sweet. Pigeon Mac, member for 4 months, 50K. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Pigeon. That's so awesome. Man, everybody's hitting their mark. Jennifer, member for 9 months. That's so cool. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for all your hard work. And Queen Morgan, thank you for putting this together, Chris. Yeah, I always, if you're new to the channel, I always try to put the visual presentation together. So I'm kind of curious to know. I'm going to play just a little bit more and just curious to think what you guys think. And, well, let me play this real quick and then I'll ask you guys. So I am no car expert, but from what I know, to get acceleration marks, the ways that I know of, now keep in mind, I am no expert. The ways that I know of to leave actual rubber on cement the 3 ways that I know of anyway, is peeling out, which is so you're at a complete stop and you peel out, and basically the tires start spinning so fast that you create so much heat on the rubber itself that it starts leaving rubber on the road itself. The second one would be when you're basically drifting, which is like your car's going to the side or something. And so basically it heats up the wheel because it's not really spinning. And you basically, once again, the rubber heats up and it starts leaving rubber on the concrete, pavement, whatever. And then the third way that I could think of would be if you're going super fast and you hit the brakes, and same thing, your wheels are locked up, and that creates friction on the tires. And then, you see that on the freeway all the time when people have to slam on the brakes, and then they leave those tread marks. But like I said, I'm not a car expert. So seeing those acceleration marks, and let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you guys think that means that he could have stopped right there for a minute, possibly even tried to go back in the home for the sheath? And I'll explain kind of where I'm going with this theory. Oh, thank you so much, Rogan Gonzo. That's awesome. Respect, Chris, Mob Crew. Cheers from New Mexico. Thank you so much, Gonzo. That's an honor. Michaela, you're doing an amazing job, Chris. Love you and everyone. Thank you so much, Michaela, and for all your hard work and sticking with me. That's so awesome. Paula says, hi, Chris and mods. Good to see everyone. Thank you so much for the $2. You guys are amazing. Okay, I get caught up. Oh, one more. Oh, it disappeared. And Copper Horse hit her thing. Oh my gosh. Congratulations, Chris. Thank you everyone for all the support. We love and appreciate you all. This is a great channel with a wonderful host. Chris is A1. Thank you so much, Copper Horse. And thank you for all the, memberships you've handed out. That's so sweet. You guys are amazing. Okay. So I'm going to see what you guys think in the chat. Any car specialists in here that would agree, disagree, have any theories on why those acceleration marks would be there? Assuming if he was just going and he didn't stop, could he leave those acceleration marks? Just curious. I would think he would have to come to a complete stop to do that. Yeah, or foot on brake and accelerating at the same time. Yeah, then peeling out. Right, so you would basically, so if your foot's on the brake, you would be at a complete stop. But yeah, that's technically, especially for an automatic, that's how you would kind of peel out in an automatic, is you kind of have your foot on the brake, you rev up the gas, and then you kind of let off the brake, but not completely. You get the tire spinning. That creates the friction. It heats up the rubber, which then allows the rubber to start peeling off onto the pavement. So, thank you so much, Sherry Lee, for the $10. That is so sweet. You guys are so awesome. Great channel, great new channel I found. Thank you so much, Maria, for the $10. Yeah, so that would be the other thing, brake marks. But would you be able to get going that fast? I mean, if you see my thing here, would you be able to be going that fast to cause brake marks? I was thinking if he was going that fast, he would have probably left, some kind of like drip marks, like over right here if he was going that fast. I don't think he could, because you got this, and we'll look at the road. I have a video as well. We'll kind of look at how tight that, because it's really tight right here. I mean, is he going to be able to go, any more than 5-10 miles an hour without just driving, into this building south of them here? So anyway, I'm going to keep playing it here. No, so there was no snow. I don't think it was wet. Now, snow didn't come until 2 days later. That was a big misconception. So there was little patches of snow, but there was nothing in the road. And we can even look at a thing as well. Let me get these, and then I'll continue playing. Ashley B. Everybody's hitting their mark. That's cool. Thank you so much, Ashley. Congrats, Mob Crew, on the 50K. You guys are amazing. I'm going to run out of breath here. Okay, and then we're going to touch on the DoorDash as well, because I know there's some DoorDash theories going out, and I'll just share my insight. Okay, but keep going here. So if you guys remember, there was that neighbor that was walking their dog, and they said that they saw the front door open. Now it says 8:30 here, but I believe they said approximately 8:39, and I think I got a short clip of the video as well.
And doing everything they can, including talking to neighbors. I talked to some neighbors who live nearby here too, John, a few hours ago. They told me something that was pretty interesting. We've been talking about that back sliding door so much, but the front door, I'm told by a neighbor who walked by that morning, who was coming back to his apartment, was wide open around 8:39 a.m. He told me that he gave that information to investigators, but we hadn't heard too much about that front door, and around 8:39 a.m. would have been a pretty good amount of time before police ever got the call that those students were dead.
So yeah, just kind of curious. It seems like because that was Fox, they interviewed that neighbor, and that neighbor seemed pretty convinced that that door was open at 8. Would she say 8:49 or because one says 8:30? I think it was 8:49.
Would have been a pretty good amount of time before. I talked to some neighbors who live nearby here too, John, a few hours ago. They told me something that was pretty interesting. We've been talking about that back sliding door so much, but the front door, I'm told by a neighbor who walked by that morning, who was coming back to his apartment, was wide open around 8:39 a.m.
Okay, 8:39. So 8:39. So just curious, what you guys think in the chat? Do you think maybe it's possible he could have, let's say, excuse me, if it wasn't 4:20 and it was actually more closer to 4:25 when he left, give him a few extra minutes to stop in front of the house and maybe went back inside and then maybe, I don't know, got spooked and then ran out the front door because now his car is actually, sitting in front of the home. And so he just ran out, left the front door open. Just kind of curious. Or another theory would be maybe the neighbor might have been misquoted and they said like 9:30, which we know Bryan did come back between 9:12 and 9:21. Could have been that time he came back, tried to go through the house, look for the sheath or something, and then came running out that front door. Just some food for thought, but kind of curious what you guys think. Depends on surface of road. Like I said, I am no expert when it comes to some leaving rubber on the pavement. Thank you so much, Bonnie. We'll look at some examples as far as leaving some tread on the pavement here.
And he told me that he gave that information to investigators, but we hadn't heard too much about that front door, and around 8:39 a.m. would have been a pretty good amount of time before police ever got the call that those students were dead.
But yeah, like I said, it was something, when I had noticed it, I thought it was kind of off. And then when Steve mentions it, Steve from True Crime Web, who's former law enforcement and worked in forensic, when he mentioned that to me this weekend as well, thought that was kind of odd. When he talks about something, I pay attention, and I thought, that seems weird. It seems like he stopped. At the very least, he stopped. Maybe he didn't go back in for the sheath, but at the very least, in my opinion, seems like he stopped. Thank you so much, Tracy. Congrats, Chris. Best channel, best mods. Thank you, Copper Horse. Thank you so much, Tracy. Okay, I think we're caught up here.
Gunderson, who on that day was midway through a 12-hour shift that had started at 6 a.m. When the 911 call came in.
Okay, so here, we'll come back to the videos. I forgot I put this in the middle here. So I did a video that was real big last Friday. It's about the first responders. I know now all the YouTubers, I'm not going to say I'm the first one that did it, but I know a lot of YouTubers have been covering this. So I'm sure most of you guys have seen this already. But there's just some things that I wanted to point out, because when he comes into the home, he'll notice that one of the doors is shut, but then in the PC affidavit, the door is open. But I think what people forget is that in the PC affidavit, you got to remember, these are detectives that are showing up at 4 p.m. So they're showing up 4 hours later than when these first responders. So I just wanted to play this part once real quick.
Gunderson had a corporal and 2 other officers on duty to assist with the patrol. And as Gunderson's black and white cruiser pulled up behind the
That's a good
neat
question.
row of cars parked in the driveway of the house of King Road, he immediately knew something was very wrong. When the three mystified officers approached the front door, someone in the crowd, it would later be shared, muttered a single plaintive word: dead. Still, Gunderson would confess to others he was unprepared for the strong smell of blood that rose up to his nostrils in the moment he walked inside. The coroner, would describe the scene in press interviews as chaos, lots of blood. And so Gunderson and his two officers, largely mute, almost robotic in their movements, now stepped carefully across the blood-streaked wooden floor and proceeded.
So this is one word we haven't. I was kind of going back to see if there was anything that wasn't mentioned in the PC affidavit, and they used the word blood-streaked wooden floor, which I mean is no surprise, but kind of makes it sound like there was blood, obviously not just in the bedrooms, but maybe kind of coming out into maybe like the living room, maybe even a hallway, depending if it was kind of getting tracked. But I just kind of thought it was interesting that they used this word here.
Proceeded to inspect a crime scene. The officers set out to inspect each floor. They moved cautiously, not knowing what they'd find. Yet, of course, but now they knew. The first floor, nevertheless, was a surprise. There were 2 bedrooms, and when they anxiously entered each one, there were no signs of anything out of the ordinary. Later, they would learn that the 2 university student occupants, Dylan and Bethany, had apparently slept, obviously through the carnage.
So here's just me just showing the example. So Brett Payne and Sergeant Blaker, those were the 2 they arrived at 4 p.m. So keep in mind there had already been a first responding crew, which is being narrated as just before this video and after. So, we've got Payne and Blaker that show up at 4, but we've got Gunderson, Nunez, and I forget the other responder, the first 3 at the beginning. So there's one thing that they describe a little different, and that is that Xana's bedroom door is closed. Now, in the PC affidavit, I'm assuming since those guys, the first responders, came into the door is now open, and they describe seeing a body laying on the ground, which would be, unfortunately, Xana's body laying on the ground in her bedroom. So I think, obviously, the door was originally closed. So I did want to point that out, because after I did this video, people were saying, well, no, the door was open. They got this wrong. But then I was thinking, this PC affidavit was written by the detectives, which they showed up later. So just wanted to explain that. Oh my gosh. Rebels of Reddit. Chris, here's a small financial gift for running a professional channel and being appreciative of your mods and subscribers. All funds previously donated to GHI will now be dispersed to ethical content creators, Rebels. Oh my gosh, that is so. Oh, I know. Okay, that is so cool. Oh, that's unnecessary, but that is really cool. That is so awesome. Please show some love to Rebels of Reddit. That is so cool. That's the biggest donation I've ever got. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I'm kind of speechless right now. That's really cool. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You guys keep me going. I don't know what to say. That's so cool. Thank you so much. I can't say thank you enough. That's really cool. Okay. I don't get sidetracked. That's really cool. I'll just send you the dance if you haven't seen it. All right, so moving on. So I lost my train of thought. So these detectives that are in the PCA obviously showed up 4 hours later. Let's see.
The trio of officers, meanwhile, proceeded with haste to the second floor. They opened the bedroom to find 2 dead bodies a male and a female. The pair was gruesomely drenched in blood, yet both their good-looking faces had...
Yeah, I wanted to cut that out, darn it. So anyway, so one of the things I just want to point out, that the door was closed. So it sounds like Bryan did shut the door after he committed this crime. I don't know that. I mean, that's speculation, but just from what they're saying.
had oddly been preserved like mass. Even at that probing moment, it was difficult. One of the young officers would later nearly well, and her happy-go-lucky haired Sigma Chi boyfriend Ethan, a triplet from Conway, Idaho, whose surviving brother and sister also attended the university. On the third floor, things got, if possible, worse. In one bedroom, lying in a single bed, were two inert women, Madison and Kaylee. They might have been sisters.
So it doesn't mention anything about this in the first responders report, if the door was open or closed to Kaylee and Maddie. Which makes me wonder, could have Bryan actually gone back in there? Like I said, that's just purely speculation. But, seems that, he did show back up for them 9 minutes. And, anyway, so in this little report here, one of the three, so we got Gunderson, Nunez. Like I said, I don't know the other responding officer's name, but they said that there was a dog that they found. I guess they have their body cams on, and so of course they a silver lining. They found the dog unharmed in Kaylee's bedroom. But I do have some interesting insight to this this part here, and I'll just play this and then we'll talk about it.
Hallway was one final door. The officers pulled it open, and at last they discovered a sign of life. A fluffy caramel-colored dog. It was Murphy, Kaylee's frisky Labradoodle. He was unharmed, not marred by even a speck of blood.
Okay. So, yeah, this is just making the point that, he did show back up there between 9:12 and 9:21. Oh, that's why I showed the document again, as I was wondering, could it be possible that that neighbor maybe got the hour wrong and it was actually like 9:30? Because if it was let's just say if it was 9:30 and it was wrong, he showed up at 9:12 to 9:21, then clearly he could have went in the house, maybe tried to look for it, and then decided to come back out through the front door, and maybe that's when he peeled out for a second time. But yeah, just think it was interesting with those acceleration marks. Usually, just like I said, from what I understand, usually as far as acceleration marks, and we're going to play some examples here in just a second, that you would literally need to be at a full stop and then get the tires kind of spinning up to get that the rubber heated up to now allow it to leave some tread on the pavement. So as you can see, there's perfect treads because they got that tire spinning up, got the friction, and basically the rubber is getting heated up to, well, now it just leaves it on the pavement. And then an example of somebody driving at a slow speed and then taking off, we'll see what happens.
Let's hope nobody wrecks.
So let's just say this was Bryan and he was going maybe 3 to 5 miles an hour, kind of coming around that sharp curve.
That's that wet spot, dude. Oh.
And as we can see, there's no tread. So just a little experiment, and I wanted to show you guys. But yeah, I think he came to a stop Maybe he didn't go inside, but at the very least, he came to a stop. Probably realized he didn't have the sheath, and then either depending on what you guys think, I think it's a good possibility he could have tried to go back in. Maybe not the first time. Maybe when he came back between 9:12 and 9:21, or wanted to. But yeah, the acceleration marks is interesting. Let's see. Nino Bobina, oh, you're so sweet. Amazing channel. Some like short vids. I like the more in-depth ones. Thank you, Chris and Mob Crew. Glad to be a part of it. Yes, and if you're new to the channel, so live shows are a little more interactive. I get to interact with the chat and everything, and that's not for everybody. I do both. I have short videos and live shows, and I do probably 50-50. So if you don't, you don't like the where I stop and kind of get not distracted, but I'm addressing the chat. If you're not into that, I do have the short videos, so I do try to address both sides. My first car, oh my gosh, I wish one of my first cars was one of those cars. I know my mom had a muscle car because it was just the thing to have in the back in the day. Ashley B, why did it take 4 hours for detectives to arrive? Ooh, that's a good question. Now, keep in mind, you have the first responders there at noon. Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. But yeah, I am not sure. Maybe they need to secure the scene and kind of let them know what they need to bring. I wish I was supposed to have the show yesterday, but unfortunately I couldn't. Okay, just seeing if anybody's. I love videos, but I really like about love videos. No ads, laugh out loud. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean that's having ads is how we make our living. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, another example, another car going. I'm not sure, approximately 5 miles, maybe a little more. Kind of starts to try to pill out, but doesn't leave the tread. Okay, now moving on to the DoorDash theory. Excuse me, DoorDash theory, because I've seen a lot of people addressing, saying, because Bryan did, and I have and I think it's in the PC affidavit, and I've got a screenshot of it, is he was actually looking into cloud-based services and stuff like that, which I guess you could attribute to this kind of stuff. I still don't know exactly, the specifics of cloud-based. I mean, that's kind of something new. Maybe we'll look that up after. But anyway, so I took a video of a DoorDash driver. This is like a small, kind of a smaller YouTuber. I think he's getting a bigger base. But anyway, he wanted to see how much money he could make for doing DoorDash. Because for those that don't do DoorDash anybody could do. If you got a phone and I think a debit card, have your money get put on, and I'm not sure all the prerequisites, but anyway, like I said, most locals can do it, and you can do it whenever you want. That's the amazing thing, and you can usually get some really great tips. And so he's going to kind of explain a little bit about the tips, but basically, let's say I want to order some food. I have the DoorDash app. I go on it. I have tons of selections. And now with DoorDash, they used to be just food-based, like fast food and stuff. Now you can ask people to go shopping for you, and they'll do it. And then, it's kind of based on, a few tips and stuff like that. So that's kind of where they get, a good portion of the money is, there's a lot of people that, tip really good. And so basically I'd put an order in for, well, in this case, it would have been Jack in the Box. And since Jack in the Box in Pullman, Washington is 24 hours, and if there's a driver that's available early in the mornings, then it'll allow you to make that order. Now, the theory that's been going around is that they're saying that they believe Bryan ordered the DoorDash. But in my opinion, I don't think that makes sense, and I don't think I think there's a lot of red flags to that. One is, would you really want to send a DoorDash person to a house at 4 a.m. in the morning to possibly wake up everybody? You know, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and play this. He kind of explains a little bit. It's not a big video, but for those that are kind of inexperienced with DoorDash. Oh, I had to turn down his volume. Okay. Oh, and here's the thing that I was just talking about. So apparently, Kohberger's past education included. My apologies. So he was an undergraduate with degrees in psychology and cloud-based forensics. So that's where people kind of get the idea that, I mean, he could have somehow hacked into their account. But then again, thinking about it, he would have to know her credit card. Man, I don't know how much you would have to know about hacking into her account, but I don't know. To me, it seems a little far-fetched. And anyway, and then he was also doing an internship for the Pullman Police Department in fall of 2022. Can you imagine? So this guy was definitely trying to get all the scoop, inside scoop. So anyway, here's him, and this is what basically a DoorDash driver will do. No, they deliver everything. And so usually they leave it at the door unless like I said, you can see on your phone when they're coming and can be waiting at the door. My neighbors right across the street, they get DoorDash like 2 or 3 times a day. Most of the time they're not there at the door. And so the DoorDash driver basically just leaves it at the front door. You can leave special instructions. Say if you've got like a side door, you can put in the special instructions and leave it at the side door. But in this case, most of the time they just drop it off in front of the door. They'll take a picture of it, send it to your phone. That gives them proof that they didn't leave it at somewhere else's door or home. And so go ahead and keep playing this. But yeah, they don't knock on the door. I've never had one knock on the door. They just leave the food and take the picture. As you can see, and this is what kind of pops up on their end, on the DoorDash driver's end, is they can choose which order to pick up because it'll show, okay, this is how much you're going to make and tips and everything, $3.50, and then maybe a base commission. It shows like where you've got to go and where the house is at. And this, you see the same thing once they pick up the food. So let's say on the right side here is your home. You can, once they pick up the food, you can see where they're at in real time, where they're coming. But like I said, my argument would be, would you really want to send a DoorDash? Because like I said, I think some people are thinking of it as like ordering pizza and sending it at somebody's house. And it's not the same concept. There's a lot more to it. But and to me, I just think, why would you want to risk waking everybody up? Now, like I said, they don't knock on the door, but still you're going to have one person kind of wondering what's going on because they're going to get a notification saying, hey, DoorDash has arrived or DoorDash is on. I mean, you get multiple notifications like when they picked up your food, when they're like 2 minutes away, when they're 1 minute away. So you're constantly getting notifications. So I don't know. To me, the DoorDash theory doesn't really sit right with me. But that's just my opinion and just from the experience I have. Let me just see what you guys are saying. Yeah, if you had gotten that internship, you had privy to the investigation. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, scary thought. Okay, just look in the chat here. Thanks, y'all. There was one I wanted to see. If I was a DoorDash dude, I wouldn't be going to this side door. Yeah, like I said, you can leave special instructions for the DoorDash people, and like I said, it's based. You decide how big a tip you want to give them. It kind of gives you an idea of where the range of the tip you should be at least giving them, but you can leave whatever, like basically leave whatever you want. And so yeah, these DoorDash drivers can make some decent money because people, especially probably at night when people want food and there may not be many DoorDash drivers. They may leave a bigger tip there. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward this, but poor guy got his car busted too. So anyway, going back to looking at the house here. So here's just a look at this road that we're talking about that you would kind of have. Now keep in mind there wouldn't have been any snow. Apparently, I believe this is Bryan Anton. I think that first week and a half he was there. I believe it snowed on the second or third day. This might have been the first snowstorm. I'm not sure. But yeah, there was no snow. No snow on the ground. Just maybe little splotches on the yard where probably the sun doesn't hit. But this is basically where Bryan apparently parked. You have to place order by 2:45 for your 4 a.m. delivery. Is that right? So I've never ordered something that late. I mean, I've only used DoorDash a few times, so. But that's interesting. I just know if there's a DoorDash driver and whatever place is open, then it'll allow you. If not, if there's some kind of problem, I think like one time I tried to order Panda Express and they had some kind of problem at Panda Express, and so even though I put everything in the cart, once I went to go confirm it, it would deny it. It would just keep denying it. So anyway, so here's a look at probably what Bryan Kohberger was kind of looking at. And see, there's this big parking lot that's kind of sitting behind it here. So he probably could have parked here and he would have had a easy line of sight. He would have probably seen the 2-bedroom windows. I know there's at least the one which would have been. So Kaylee's bedroom would have been here. Maddie's bedroom would have been on the right. Oh, the other thing I want to mention is now that we kind of know that there is some kind of connection with Bryan. If you missed that, we'll go back to that and read that article one more time. But it's weird. Well, it's not weird, but it's interesting that Bryan supposedly, the first thing that Dylan ever mentions in the affidavit after Bryan shows up is that she sounds, and remember, so Maddie's bedroom is above Dylan's bedroom. And then so across would have been Kaylee's bedroom where Murphy would have been at. The first thing that Dylan ever mentions is that she hears what sounds like someone playing with the dog. So I wonder if that confirms that, we've always kind of assumed that Kaylee was at least one of the targets. Would that kind of confirm that the first thing Bryan did was go up to the 3rd floor and go to the bedroom with the dog? And that's why it sounds like that someone's playing with the dog is he opens the door expecting Kaylee, and then, maybe the dog, kind of barks or does something. And so that's what alerts Dylan to what sounds like Kaylee playing with the dog, but that's really Bryan opening the door to Kaylee's bedroom, thinking she's going to be in there, but it's just the dog in there. And then so he shuts the door. Then maybe that woke up one of the girls, Kaylee or Maddie, and then that's when they say someone's here, is maybe they hear the dog maybe barking or something. So just a theory on that. Maybe it was a struggle with Kay and the dog was whining from the other room, so it sounded like playing. Yeah, definitely.
If you plead guilty or are found guilty, is death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
The arrest of Bryan Kohberger for the murders of 4 University of Idaho.
Oh, there's a video of Xana wearing Vans when the cops go by the house because they make two. Oh, I think I've got that video. Interesting. Yeah, Vans. I mean, yeah, Vans is a pretty popular pair of shoes. That's funny because I was listening to a video where they had, like a defense attorney and just kind of what he would poke holes into as far as the affidavit. And he says Vans, leaving a footprint in Vans isn't going to be super big because a lot of people wear Vans. But I'm 6'3", so my shoe size is 13. Now, depending on how big the shoe print is, if they had a, I'm assuming he's probably got, at least, 11 to 13 foot shoe size. I'm just guessing. But then that would have a little more weight on the Vans. But yes, that is true. The Vans is kind of a popular pair of shoes. Wouldn't be a big, piece of evidence to hold against him unless they have like the full shoe print. Then I would say it's going to be a little bit harder to, argue. But yeah, great observation. And I do have that video. We'll have to check that out. Yeah, because you can literally, you don't have to, because Vans usually has, it's almost kind of like the Nike swoosh. So, except kind of backwards. Vans, yeah, well, at the V anyway.
Students came as a shock. We're taking a look at 7 things that we've learned since the probable cause affidavit.
Yeah, since you mentioned that, let's look at that real quick. Just for a silver lining, and then we'll get back into some other things here. So yeah, apparently Jack, the ex-boyfriend, Kaylee, has made an Instagram account for Murphy, and that's awesome. And so it says Murphy Gonzalez. It says, missing my mom every day, but trying to live my best life. I got to admire her beauty in the sky this evening. So that's really cool that he did that. Really awesome. So thank you for mentioning that. Okay. So let's go back to this video and let's see what time do we got. Oh, I can't see my clock here. 4:20. We started at 3:15. All right, so we'll go for another 20-30 minutes and then we'll do a giveaway at the end.
Was released. Students, they are Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. When Kohberger was arrested in an early morning raid on his parents' home in Pennsylvania more than 2 weeks ago, the news was a surprise. He's someone that wasn't on the public's radar, but the affidavit says Moscow police had been aware of him since late November. When he was arrested, many wondered, who will represent him? His family said they couldn't afford to hire a lawyer, and with this possibly being a death penalty case, the public defenders in Latah County, Idaho, were not qualified to handle it. Ann Taylor is the chief public defender for the Coeur d'Alene area in Idaho, about 2 hours north of Moscow, and she was appointed to represent Bryan Kohberger.
Ms. Taylor,
Court records that were recently...
Okay, oh, now I remember why I played this video. Yes, I did hear about that, Nellie B. Yeah, there was a big party on Friday night. I know, I thought I heard 150 people. I wonder if that was misquoted. I can get 150 people in there, but but yeah, I did hear that. Interesting. And there's one other thing. Okay, so this video, because we know that the search warrant's obviously going to give you a lot more details on maybe possibly the connection to Bryan and the victims. If you missed the first part of the show, I will address that because there was some Instagram accounts, and apparently Apparently, he was messaging at least one of the victims repeatedly, from what they found out. But so people are wondering why they sealed this search warrant, which is for his home in Pullman, Washington. And so they explain this quite well in this little video that I've got. So I'm going to go ahead and play that real quick.
Sealed showed that Taylor was appointed to represent Kohberger within hours of his arrest on December 30th. She immediately filed motions invoking his right to counsel, saying law enforcement should not speak to him, and she won an order to preserve the crime scene. Police had started cleaning out that King Road house that very day. Next, Kaylee Gonsalves' sister, Olivia, spoke recently, just in the last several days, for the first time since Bryan Kohberger was arrested. Olivia Gonsalves was critically involved in this investigation. She found cell phone records belonging to her sister that helped with the timeline, and she also found that Twitch video of Kaylee and Maddie Mogan at the Grub Truck food truck in the hours before they were murdered. She spoke to News Nation following Kohberger's initial appearance.
I think we always presume, innocence. I don't think it really hit me until the affidavit was released and I was able to kind of read that and process that. And then you not only have a name and a face, but, the beginnings of a case against him. The relief that we all felt having a suspect in custody was, it was like, I can't even describe it. Like the weight of the world was lifted from our shoulders.
Olivia Gonsalves said that she will attend all of the future court appearances. Yeah. The day that Bryan Kohberger was arrested, Moscow police, with the assistance of police in Pullman, Washington, executed a search warrant on Kohberger's apartment near the campus of Washington.
Okay, so this is really important because this explains why they sealed it, why they used the term. It could be, how do they word it? How it could be, I forget the term. Anyway, I'll play it now.
University. As you can imagine, the documents pertaining to that search warrant could reveal a lot of information, including what items were seized by law enforcement. But the warrant and documents related to it are sealed until March 1st of this year, according to an order from the court in Whitman County, Washington. It turns out the warrant was requested the day before Kohberger was arrested. So
see, that's huge. So it was... So yeah, they had this document out just prior to his arrest. So they had to seal this because this would have put the family and or the, more importantly, well, everything's important, but the investigation in jeopardy because obviously if this came out, this would have spooked Bryan Kohberger.
Of course, law enforcement wouldn't have wanted Kohberger's name released until after he had been taken into custody. The order sealing those documents said that making this information public before the arrest could have endangered effective law enforcement, possibly caused a premature end to the investigation, and endangered public safety.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Public safety and endangering the public in law enforcement. So that was technically, that search warrant was written up before they had arrested Bryan, but so they had to seal that to protect all those things I just mentioned. So that completely makes sense. So let me get this real quick. Mass doorbell stalker. Law enforcement had filed reports on that doorbell dude. I know. How crazy is that? I know what you're talking about, Isabel. And then we learned that he kind of wore some kind of mask. Now, it's unclear if he was wearing just, kind of like a COVID mask. I would lean, she doesn't mention anything about the hair. So it could be possible. It could have been kind of one of the ski masks that, it's not, kind of got the bigger eyelids kind of cut out so you can see the bushy eyebrows. It's quite possible he had that. I would think the COVID mask would be a little more low key. You're not sticking out as much because COVID, but it's possible. Wolfpack, welcome to the member. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. I'll have some more member videos coming out real soon. We had a really cool one put out last week, and then we're gonna have the special members only live this weekend. Okay, so moving on. This I thought was interesting, and this was that he showed up to a doctor's appointment 4 days after the attack, and this basically says that he had like a routine medical appointment that he had. It doesn't say how often, but it says, and I'll just read this middle part. So the receptionist at the office, who asked Insider not to name her or the business because discussing the interaction is, medical privacy laws. But they say that when he came in after the 4 days of the murder, he was super friendly, so much so that the boss and the staff actually took note. They said he was so nice and charming. And one of the things they said is he kept up on his appointments, whereas a lot of people were canceling their appointments. So it sounds like he was kind of being routinely seen. It's unclear. They just say Pullman Medical Center, so I have no idea. If anybody's done any more research on that, I'd love to know. So I have no idea if this is, regular physical checkups. Is this more, like some kind of psychological? I have no idea. But, yeah, just curious. And I guess where I'm kind of leaning towards is there's a little bit of talk about he could be an incel. And I don't know if incels get seen regularly for that kind of problem, but just kind of makes you wonder, because a lot of people are thinking he could be an incel, and especially going to the Papa Rogers. Is that on Reddit? I can't remember what Papa Rogers. No, that was in the Facebook group. Excuse me, the Papa Rogers. But some people think that's the name Roger, and the way it's spelled is kind of an ode to Elliot Rogers, who was kind of like the original incel that went and harmed a bunch of people and did some terrible things. And so some people are wondering if that's like a connection. That was why he used Papa Rogers. So that was kind of interesting. But or could he have just been seen because he had an injury on his hand or something that he was being seen for? When going to the medical center, was he more reserved or
touching one side of the wall?
Okay, so if you guys are wondering where Bryan is being kept, he is actually, from what I understand, he's being actually kept at that courthouse, and they have like a facility under it where he's being kept at. And so I guess this guy's been at this facility, and he kind of describes what basically what Bryan Kohberger is, his day-to-day life is now. And so I thought I'd play a little bit of that, and then we'll let's see, 4:30. We'll look at this, and then we'll recap everything, and then we'll start to do the giveaway.
And your feet are basically touching the bars. It's very short. It's very short in there. If you sleep with your head by the toilet, it smells foul. It's horrible. If you sleep with your head on the other side, all you get is bright lights. So, I mean, it's uncomfortable in there, to say the least.
And then I think there's one description you also said that if you decided to sleep, and we've got a diagram, up on the monitor here, where you can see the toilet is at one side of the cell and the bars are at the other side, and the bed runs the length. If you decide not to sleep with your head next to the toilet and you choose to sleep with your head next to the bars, did you say that the other inmates can actually reach you, can reach through the bars and do something to you?
Yeah, so that could be a possibility. I have only ever heard of that happening. I didn't have it happen to me. But the fact of the matter is Kohberger won't have anybody in that hold with him with the charges that he has. It's extremely serious. They wouldn't take it lightly and put anybody else in danger.
This is an individual certainly that has obviously some mental health issues.
So yeah, being 6 feet doesn't sound like he's too comfortable down there. Now he is innocent till proven guilty, but if he is the one that did this horrible crime, then I don't feel bad for him one bit. That he's got to lay next to his stinky toilet. And yes, being 6'3" myself, I know I've slept in some tiny spaces and it sucks. So I can tell you he's not having a fun time right now.
But I think this was more of a signal of dominance or control and revenge. I think the evidence is going to play out that at some point he crossed paths with at least one of the victims.
Okay, so for those that might have missed that first part, this is a perfect spot to just recap that first article. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just the first part here. So if you missed this, this just came out today. This is by People Magazine. So they have a source that says accused Idaho killer Bryan Kohberger repeatedly messaged one of the victims on Instagram, which is interesting because I do recall when this case, first started, or when we first started hearing about Bryan Kohberger, is I did some, and I have them too, but I'd probably take me forever because I've got so many folders. But I did see the Instagram screenshots where it shows his profile, and it shows that he's actually following. We learned in this that he's actually following all three girls, Madison, Kaylee, and Xana. But it sounds like, and I don't think they say which one, but one of the girls he's like specifically messaging over and over. So I'll read this first little part, just in case if you missed it. So it says, let me get to it part. So in late October, an account that authorities believe belonged to Bryan sent a greeting to one of the female victims, the source said. When he didn't get a reply, he sent several more messages to her. He slid into one of the girl's DMs, which is direct message. It's just like Facebook, how you can message somebody on their wall, or if you're kind of new, you can send somebody, a special message, which is a DM. So he had basically sent some DMs several times, but she didn't respond. The source tells People. Basically, it was him just saying, hey, how are you? But he did it again and again. So clearly, there's establishes that he knew at least one, if not 3 out of the 4 victims. And it's, let's see, was there anything else at this part I can recall? Oh, yeah, so it's unclear why Kohberger didn't get a response to his messages. She may have not seen them because they went into the message request. Instagram users are not notified when they receive a message from someone they do not follow back. And I kind of explained this earlier. It's basically the same thing in Facebook. If you've got a new friend that sends you a message, you may not get that message because it'll go into kind of like the spam folder. And so it's kind of the same concept with Instagram. But I think that's huge. That kind of established that they were clearly, he clearly had been stalking and knew these, at least was following one of them and trying to message one of them and following the other 3. Candace Soto, congrats on the 50K. Thank you guys so much. You guys are so awesome. Okay, my chat's acting a little weird. Okay, we got 17,000. Let me know how the speed is, mods. We'll go for a little bit more, and then we'll start. I'll explain the giveaway here in just a minute.
And his interpretation
Okay, so I'm going to skip this here.
Of this prosecution. But I also will tell you that now that they have basically most of the pieces of the puzzle, there is an effort to go back and backtrack and try to recover video surveillance of those type of stores or online purchases that may have been made. And again, this does take some time. They're probably sifting through his financial records as well as going back to certain stores.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of true, huh? So here's one more thing that I want to give shout out to Steve from True Crime Web. He also kind of, I think he's the one that first really mentioned this. So we did learn that obviously he not only was trying to contact at least one of the victims through Instagram, but when they got his records, now he got this 8458 phone from AT&T in June 22nd of last year, and between June and November, they noticed that his cell resources showed that he was in the area of the King Road residence on at least 12 occasions prior to November 13th. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening, early morning hours, which lines up with one of my last videos I did where it talks about sounds like he's kind of either an insomniac or just doesn't get a lot of sleep. Well, I mean, I guess it's insomniac, or is just a night. What I mean to say is insomniac or a night owl. That's what I meant to say. But what Steven noticed is that now they only got the records for the phone from June to November. Clearly, he had a different phone before that. Could he have been stalking them even before June? Because all they have is the records from this 8458 phone from AT&T. So he could have had something from T-Mobile, and let's say in May, April prior, could have been stalking them even earlier on. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that Steve had brought up. Okay, let me grab these before they disappear. Verbal judo. Man, everybody's hitting their marks. That's so cool. Congratulations. Way to go. Thank you so much, Verbal Judo. Okay, I got everything. Okay. Okay, almost over. Okay. All right, so this is where I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to play one video real quick, and then we're going to go back to that, and I'm going to start entering names in for the giveaway, and I'll explain how we're going to do it. So if you missed this first part, I wanted to show this because I really want to get this scumbag out there and get this guy caught. So this is unrelated to the case. This happened early yesterday morning, and this is a guy in Auburn, Washington. It doesn't say exactly where, but this guy drives up to like a coffee shop and orders a coffee and drives up to the window and tries to abduct this poor girl and literally tries to pull her out the window. Now, she is fine, but we need to catch this guy because they haven't caught him yet. So notice the tattoo. I'll play the whole video and then we'll go back and look at it real quick. I don't know what the heck he had in his right hand. Scary. So we'll play that one more time. Clearly he's got a tattoo that definitely stands out. I may do a video on that to see if we can figure out what that says. And then we can also kind of get a good look at about the side of his face. Punk. Coward. It's too bad this is blocking that. So it looks like he's got a kind of a short goatee there. But that tattoo's big because that stands out. Looks like a dark truck. And I'm sure we can figure out what kind of truck that is if we can't quite see the logo. Is that Dodge right there? That looks like Dodge. I could run it through some filters. It looks like a Dodge emblem right there. Anyway, not to get off track, but I just wanted to show that. So anybody in Washington, keep an eye out for that scumbag. Need to get him off the streets. It's just sickening. Yeah, I think if I could run some filters, he's got the light on it, so with it being dark and that light, it's super bright, so it's almost like too hard to see. Oh, is that what it is? Zip tie? Let me play that one more time. Is that what he's got in his hand? Holy oh my God, it is. Wow, I was wondering what he had. That is a zip tie. Oh, that lucky girl. Wow, that is. It looks like two zip ties on each other. Yeah, I was wondering what he had in his other hand. Yep, I can see the loop thing right there. Wow, what a monster. Looks like he put two zip ties together to make it longer. Ew, that disgusts me. Oh, tattoo says Chevrolet has been arrested. Oh, have they arrested him? Oh, good. Good. 4 hours ago, they posted they arrested this. Oh, okay. Cool. Well, oh, there we go. I didn't see that. I looked in the comments. I didn't see that they had gotten him. Good. Awesome. All right. Well, that's good news. Sorry, I didn't know. Well, that's a good thing. Now, it doesn't surprise me with, his tattoo and his truck. And I'm sure they found his license plate. That's awesome. All right. So, okay, let's go ahead and do the giveaway. So I can't use, since I'm not using StreamYard, I can't use like a special word and then have it just automatically pick some random people. So I got to do the Wheel of Fortune, which means I'm going to have to type names in. So this is how it's going to go. If you want to be entered in, which means you want a gift and, you'll give me your address and be able to email me, I'll ask you to put in a special word. What I'll do is I'll try to put in the first 50 people. I may skip a couple of names just to kind of I'm just going to put like 40 to 50 names in, and then we'll run the wheel. So, and like I said, I'll skip a few names just in case people can't type that fast. And so that's how it'll be done, and we'll pick a couple of winners. So I'll go ahead and play a video. This is the video of them responding to the home. While we watch that, I'll have you guys put in the word if you want to be entered in, and then that way I can type the names in while we're watching that. Thank you so much, Sleuth and Sandals, for becoming a member and supporting the channel. And we'll go ahead. You don't have to be a member. Everybody's can be entered in. So I'll tell you the special word here in just a second. And then I'll have to, let's see. Oh, I need to pull this back up.
Being cleared early on.
So I'm just going to let this video play while I enter names in. Swing this over so I can see the names good. Okay. All right, everybody. So if you want to be entered in and win, please put in mob crew. It can be spaced or whatever, just mob crew if you want to be entered in. And we'll go ahead and play this video, and I'll enter in as many people as I can. Mods, I have a special thing for you guys. So if you want to be entered in, put mob crew in the chat, and we'll get this going for a little bit.
Megan, I have her information. I have her cell phone number too.
Call her.
Okay.
Hello, miss.
Hello.
What's your name?
Xana.
Xana, do you live here?
Yes.
Okay, did Megan talk to you earlier?
No.
Okay, does Megan live here?
Megan, I do not have a Megan that lives
Megan
here.
Mogan?
Maddie Mogan, yes.
Madison Mogan, yeah.
Madison Mogan? Okay, she does live here?
Sorry, we
Tonight, within 2 hours.
I'm sorry
Okay?
about that.
So this time it was the blonde gal and the guy on the back porch playing music. Okay? So,
I sincerely apologize about that. I'm just going to bed.
okay. So, just so you understand, you could be getting a misdemeanor citation for this, which means you have to go in front of a judge and explain why you couldn't keep the people in your house quiet.
Okay.
Okay? We've already talked to Maddie once and told her the same thing. Okay? The only reason she's not getting a ticket is because she's not standing here in front of me. But I'm telling you right now, if we have to come back, you're getting a ticket.
Okay, so
you
I'm
will have to go
not
see a
right
judge.
now. I'm fine right now.
You're not getting a ticket right now?
Good, how are you? We're not.
You guys haven't been drinking or anything, right?
No.
Okay, drive careful, okay?
Thank you.
Did they?
I can go get them real quick.
These? This is what the other group had that ran away.
Oh, really? You just ditched it? Awesome.
Those ones kept walking in the car and the other one.
Nice. Truly's for the win. Moscow 157. Got it 1122 Queen Road. Yes.
Huh?
That's hilarious, like you.
Feeling icky, so I couldn't do it this weekend. But thank you guys. I wish I could have. I tried to interact with you guys as much as I can. Try to have a happy medium so the people that are rewatch this still have some still enjoy it as well. So with that said, I have a new pet outro. So if you sent me pet photos recently, we will go ahead and play that. And let me just make sure. Yep, got the donation. So we're all set. If you could, hit the like button on your way out. You guys are amazing. And we're going to go ahead and play the outro. I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday or wonderful Tuesday, excuse me. And we'll see you guys maybe tomorrow, if not Thursday.